Start the recording. Okay, from my documents, I have this, and we'll continue with this little presentation, slideshow, presenter view. Bring this over to my screen, and F11 this. Okay, so I want to make sure we understand the attacks capabilities on wireless. Remember, I'll get my little arrowy going here, and I'll turn on the pen. In a well-defined corporation, you may have something like a hard edge, like the borders of your property. If you have a wide space between your building and others, that might make sort of a harder edge, especially for wireless. But with wireless, the edges get a little more blurred because of the way you can arrange how you're doing wireless. There could be some internal wireless in your company, but making it available either to other people reading your signal or other people internally connecting to things like evil twins. So the wireless gets a little bit blurred. Oh, and let's add one thing to this. I realize this slide here has one thing to add. Let's add a row to this. 802.11be. That's called Wi-Fi 7. Been doing a little research on that today too, and that's being introduced in, I think, May 2024. The frequency is, I still think it's, let me check. I know it's 5.6. I think it's 2.4. It may be 3. 2.4, 5, and 6. And the maximum data rate, I think, was 49 gigabits per second. Let me quick check that on my research I was doing. Wi-Fi 6. Wi-Fi 7. Can you check my numbers? Let's see if we got this right. 802.11be, Wi-Fi 7, 2.4, 5, 6. Oh, I actually did get it right. 2.4, 5, and 6, and I'll put slashes in between them, just like they do on Wikipedia. And 49, or they show 46.120. I thought I came across a 49. Okay, 46 gigabits. I'll just round it out to 46. 46 gigabits per second, having to do with multiple channels transmitting at certain frequencies. You can have multiple channels all transmitting to the same thing. Yes?
I think the ratification date for Wi-Fi 4 might be wrong.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I have 802.11n on a 2007 laptop.
Huh. Okay, so this is in question here because you had an older PC that had 802.11n. Now, I have read that even though this is being ratified in 2024, people are actually, there's equipment already out there that has Wi-Fi 7.
Interesting.
So maybe they did that with 802.11n, that before it was ratified, they were putting it in equipment because they were just so confident it wasn't going to change, or if it was, they could retrofit or still take their chances that there might be some fixes to it. So although this is ratified in next year, there are devices. Well, in the article I read, there are devices, and just because vendors want to hop on that wagon of large bandwidth and perhaps even help to push particular protocols that they can't change because they have proven perhaps some things that are working and keep from changing it. But vendors are smart to hop on that right away. Let's go back up to our various attacks on the wireless. We kind of talked a little bit about Bluetooth. And where's my Bluetooth attacks? Well, I guess what we could do with attacks, if you can mess up the communication or even intercept the communication or put fake tags in there, you can do lots of things. In the book, they mention a few things, like a vendor that wanted to know what is being sold at the store. They could put fake readers or rogue readers around to see what other things are selling as customers walk by that part of the shelf. And if they only work close proximity, you could find out what is being sold or moved around on nearby shelves. So a lot of ways, just, besides just messing up their system, putting bad data in or monitoring. And like I said, you could follow someone out the store, know what they have in their bag, and decide whether or not that's worth an attack. Follow them to the store, get their license number, or just follow them home, and you'll see, okay, when they're gone, we know they just bought some new stuff based on what I saw on RFID. Remember, they work without a power supply, making them more cost effective. I believe the price of tags is down to reasonable, I think $1 a tag or something, and you can actually buy your own. I came across a YouTube video of a guy suggesting ways to use it in interesting ways. You can embed a message in an RFID and then have someone else come by and read that. Perhaps a way for secret messages to be shared.
Or you could have a RFID proof wallet and have that on the outside of the wallet.
Yeah.
So if someone tries to steal it, like, haha, good try.
Yeah, or you could fake someone else's ID as you're walking in because you have somehow duplicated their card. And I believe all you have to do is read somebody's card, and you can duplicate it, the RFID part of it, I think. But so many ways that they can, because of they're made very convenient. They are conveniently a vulnerability or an attack surface. Here's all the wireless LAN and the latest one here, 802.11be. I don't know about the security of them so far. From everything I've read so far, I've learned about the increased capabilities. I haven't read about if they have actually tighter security. And that's the next thing we want to look at is the security protocols. For your client, though, think of the attacks regarding your hardware. You've got an antenna receiving data. That's your client interface card. You've got your access point, which your clients connect to. And you've got the same antenna. The access point acts as your base station, and now that access point is between wireless and your internal network. Okay, so that's your bridge from the wireless to the wired network. So that becomes a critical point. If that's a weak point, the invisible wireless is a way in to my wired network. That is the attack surface. And so if I can break in or get you to help me break in by you setting up a rogue access point, and just because for your own convenience, that has allowed me into your network. You can run in infrastructure mode where you are actually part of the network. If you're on the wireless, you're on the company's network. Or you could have them run where they are connected to wireless but cannot connect to another network in ad hoc mode. So you could have wireless devices talking to each other but no one else. And there's also a thing called Wi-Fi Direct. And there's access points with lots of hardware, some that act as a router as well as something else, or some that simply act as an access point. More and more, I believe, you're going to get fat because they're getting cheaper. You can have an access point be a router as well. So most of the time when I look for wireless connection, I always see routers, and those are not just access points. Maybe I can look online just for the access point if I want to save some money. Because we don't have that hard edge anymore, we can actually have attacks from various places, and this is where they discuss the rogue access point. This is the what typically well-intentioned employee or students here. They can't get access to the internet, so they want to make it easier for them and others. So they set up an access point, little box in the room with an antenna, connects to everyone else because a student isn't strong enough, and they can connect directly into the wired LAN. What's the vulnerability here of setting up a rogue access point?
Various things such as bypassing the password system.
Yeah, this could be without password. So essentially, I'm letting anyone in. Now, if we had our system and our firewalls all configured, what could I do on the security side to make this harder to do or to make this impossible? What could I do from the network security over here to keep this from happening, to prevent rogue access point? What do you think, John? If I have a rogue access point, how could I, on the network side, how could I defend against that?
Be doing scans to see if there are any extra access points.
Okay, so it gets scanned, that's one way. Any other way?
Make everything physical.
Well, you're warm, you're heading in the right direction.
Wrong.
You're heading in the right direction, not allow wireless. You could jam it so that it won't only be wired. Remember, each of these devices has a MAC address. And remember when you came and you were asked to register your devices? We registered your MAC addresses. On our firewall, I could set it up so it does not recognize or redirects devices that don't have registered MAC addresses.
Whitelisting?
Yeah, I could whitelist your MAC addresses on our firewall. Now, what's the workaround of that?
Setting it to whitelisting.
Yeah, you can spoof your MAC address. So that's a weak attempt at protection. I don't know if there's any other way, but besides scanning for rogue access points, determining maybe from the behavior of the access of the packets, maybe I could tell that it's a rogue access point, even though it's a spoofed MAC address of a Mac or something, or of a laptop. There may be a way I could detect rogue access points.
There would be another signal, so you could walk around the school
Yeah.
with a signal looker.
Right, I could walk and scan the wireless side and see if I find that, and then from the wired side also.
Check any special hardware or software at all.
Yeah, you can do with the phone. I like I think it's wireless analyzer, Wi-Fi analyzer on an Android.
Well, if you're just looking for Wi-Fi, you could just look, and assuming it's like not hidden, you could just look at your Wi-Fi connections.
And even the Wi-Fi analyzer, it will show you the signal is there, but then they say it's a hidden SSID. But even with that, there are ways to get the SSID, even though it is supposedly hidden. According to one article I read, it's really not hidden. It's just a little harder to see. So they don't recommend as SSID as anything you rely on, because I thought you'd only see it if someone else connected to it, but apparently the SSID is in packets that it transmits. All you have to do is listen in the right way, and you can see the SSID. So that's the rogue access point. Someone came in to help. Now, a evil twin. What's an evil twin? Here I've got an access point near you that I want to attack. I can produce a signal for you, making it look as though it is your corporate network and it is over here on my evil twin network. I could fake you into connecting to mine. That's your evil twin. I am mimicking what looks like a legit access point. I don't know if there's a way that I could actually, I don't think I could actually, unless I broke into your router, to actually duplicate your Wi-Fi password and actually have it authorized. I think there's enough differences that it wouldn't just automatically connect if I used the exact same name. But that would be past possibility.
Get someone if you get someone to connect to yours and get them to give you the password.
Yeah. But I don't know if I don't think your PC could automatically connect. Like if you were connected to EBC Student, and if I created an access point and used the Wi-Fi EBC Student, same passwords, I think your laptop would still recognize it's not the same as the EBC Student it saw before. But that would be something I would try. As an evil twin, I would try to mimic the same SSID, corporate or admin, or I could pretend to be that and be a honeypot to just see how many people are going to try to connect to this. So that offers some interesting wireless honeypot idea for a project. So all these attacks, here's your evil twin. You've convinced someone on a corporate laptop to connect to you, and now you suck out all their data. The attacker connects through a bridged corporate laptop into the local network, stealing data. Or I can just simply listen to your internal network and listen for it. Maybe I don't even decrypt it. I just know when you're really busy and where you're sending your signals to. I might know when you're doing backups, or when all your salesmen come home and are uploading their data. Maybe if I couldn't get in, I could still disrupt at that particular time by performing some sort of attack. I don't know how much of all these kind of attacks are going on right now, but I bet you there's a lot of people in current world conflicts doing cyber attacks on the other side. So the countries that have the most technology have the largest attack surface and probably the largest number of vulnerabilities. So all the things you can do, you can sniff the signal, and here's the big threat. It's usually the people configuring your systems that haven't configured it securely. I could also do the denial of service by jamming, spoofing. I could spoof the MAC address of your gateway, your default gateway of your firewall, and that then would mess up signals coming in and transmissions. I could just mess up a protocol, sending frames or malformed frames that either crash or confuse network devices. And the book talks about some things that you can send a frame that says to everyone, hey, wait, I'm trying to connect, wait for me to be done before attempting more transmissions. And if it's a fake frame, you're just telling everything on the network, keep waiting, and slow down the whole network. That would be your denial of service. So many ways, and of course, the home user often don't set any security. They just make it open. I hope none of you have that on any of your wireless, to have it anything set open. Although some people do have the guest network, because it is a pain. I would say I would not recommend even using the guest network. I would call it guest, but have it not be open. And if they want the guest network, they have to ask you, so you'll at least know. And of course, you should have some sort of time on how long each lease occurs, and that they have to re-authenticate. Here's something that's a big temptation for me, is I get that old equipment people are throwing away. Hey, I can use that at home. But it's insecure, and I've opened up my home because I'm too cheap to buy fancier secure stuff. So you may fall into that. Use the old stuff in your lab that's for testing and penetration testing. Don't use it for your main network at home, because if you're doing any decent work, there's important data that you have on your laptop or are sending back and forth. VPNs all the way. Near field communication, and this is where a little video I had explains a little bit difference between near field and things you can do with RFID. Let's see if you like this little video. It's not a very long one. See what you think.
Channel. Cool, so let's get into it. Starting with RFID, the process of uniquely identifying items using radio waves. Each tag has an antenna and a chip, and when they're brought close to the RFID reader, the RFID reader will then send power to the chip, and in return it sends back a unique identifier. Once the RFID reader has this identifier, it can then choose to do something with it, such as open a gate or a boom or a door. This protocol is extremely common in secure building establishments or secure gated estates where you can only get in if you have an access card. This form of RFID uses specifically 125 kilohertz frequencies. Now, because the frequency is quite small, that means that it can only measure about a few centimeters. But there are other frequencies that are high frequencies and ultra high frequencies that can do up to several meters. Now, this is mainly reserved for doing things like counting sheep, cattle, livestock in a massive field, or even keyless entry into high-end vehicles. Now, this is all that 125 kilohertz RFID tags really do. They're inherently quite dumb. All they have is a chip and a unique identifier on them. Once the RFID reader takes that ID from them, it can then choose what to do depending on the application. Now, let's go on to NFC tags. NFC stands for Near Field Communication, and it can be considered a specialized subset of RFID. Specifically, NFC is a branch of RFID that uses 13.56 megahertz frequency as opposed to the 125 kilohertz frequency that we spoke about earlier. Now, this is a bit where the confusion comes in, because the NFC and RFID readers are not compatible in any way, and neither are their tag-like counterparts, and that's because they use completely two different frequencies. But that being said, since NFC is a fossil frequency, it makes way for much more functionality. With NFC tags, not only can we store unique identifiers, but we can also store small bits of data. Now, it's not much, but you can store things like website URLs, business card details, emergency service details. If you wanted, you can even put your Wi-Fi password on your card, and if your friend comes over and you don't feel like reading out an incoherent Wi-Fi password, you can just tap the back of his phone and connect it to your Wi-Fi. So as you can imagine, that opens up NFC tags to a ton of awesome business ideas and lifestyle choices you can use in just a bunch of types of NFC tags. So NFC tags can be purchased from a bunch of different types of electronic stores, but that's not fun without having an NFC reader. Well, the good news is that almost all smartphones these days come with a built-in NFC reader, both Android and Apple. And that's really, really good news, because now we can start doing some awesome things with it. So let's have a look. Okay guys, so I'm on the desktop of my phone, and I have an NFC tag in my hand. And if I put it against the back of my phone, it'll come up with a message that says a few things. And basically that means it's got something, it's found the tag, and now it's asking me what to do with it. So if I just open new tag collected, it'll say exactly what's on this, and I loaded it previously. It says found me on all socials. But now, if I want to write something else on this tag, what I have to do is open an app called NXP Tag Writer. If I wanted to write these tags, I can do something like this. I can go write, I can say new data set, and I have a bunch of options. I have business cards with links, I can do the Wi-Fi thing I told you about earlier, I can go Bluetooth, I can use plain text, I can even make a launch an application of my choice. I don't know why you would need that, but I mean, it's there. But what we're going to do with this example, I'm just going to put some plain text on here. So plain text, when it hits some text, I'm going to say NFC tags are awesome. Great, cool. Sounds good. So we're going to do is say write. We want to confirm write down, it takes a while. And so it's ready to go. I just say write, and it says ready to store, share, select the content, just tap the button, it's going to go through. So put it on the back, and write successful, no problem. So now I can just back to the main menu of my phone, same tag in my hand, and just scan the back of my phone, open with, and just say new tag collected, and bam, there it is, NFC tags are awesome. So this can be substituted with things like I said, URLs, or business details, or contact details. You can imagine if someone was in an emergency and the medics were not sure if the person is allergic to something, or if what kind of medication they're on, or if they're diabetic, or whatever the case may be, they could have that information maybe on a card and scan it back on the phone, and then someone could see all the information on the phone. So, like I said, there was a ton of cool and awesome ways to do different things. So NFC tags don't just come in the form of card, they come in the form of keychain tags, they come in the form of durable tags that can be placed into the back of metal plates, and there's no problem about it. They come in the form of stickers, which is really cool. You can stick them on things, you can scan them as well. They come in the form of really small stickers. This is a 10 by 10 mil sticker, which is absolutely tiny if you ask me. And in fact, they even come in the form of a ring, which is totally crazy. That is an NFC. That's an NFC ring, and so you can put this on. I mean, I personally wouldn't, but you can put this on, and then you can scan this ring, and you can put details on it, which is really, really cool. I'll probably like to get a mail version of it, but this is cool nevertheless. You even get RFID block cards, which is quite cool. So what these will do is, if you want to put these in your wallet, it might stop people from going past you and skipping your credit card credentials off your wallet. Now, that is important because just like all these cards, credit cards also contain NFC technology, and by someone using a NFC terminal, they could actually walk past your wallet or your handbag and scan some of that detail. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but precautions have been made like this to stop that from happening. So, alright, that's it from me. If this helped, I'm really happy. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that you've seen in this episode, please let me know in the comments.
Thought that was kind of interesting that you can. I did look into my wallet and Apple Pay. I don't see it saying, set up NFC reading. It just has allow pay, Apple Cash enabled. There's a default card option. Compatible cards. I don't see turn on NFC for my phone, so
You probably have to get a discrete app for that from the App Store.
did he show his app? I don't think I saw his app.
There was an Android phone.
Oh, is that what he was using? I wasn't paying attention. So maybe there's an NFC app. I'm gonna check real quick, see if there's an NFC app for my iPhone here. Type in search NFC. There is a smart NFC tool. Read and write NFC. Oh, I'm going to give it a try. Stars 3 out of 6. Oh, here NFC tools has a few more stars. I'm going to try that one. There's smart NFC tools, and there's NFC tools, and I think they're free. Let's see. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation here now. So lots of vulnerabilities, lots of issues that may come up, and then of course the old wired equivalent privacy was completely, well, not completely, but it was not secure enough, so we don't even think about using equipment unless we want to test it and see if we can crack it. I think we still have some laying around, or I know I have some at home that I rescued from the trash heap just for fun. Maybe I could set that up and try and demonstrate how we could break through it. But I'm sure that I actually tried once, and it was not just a simple, hey, run this script and you're in. It took a little work, and I actually never got through the WEP. This is another possible issue because I see the pin printed right on the router. The time I heard about this the most is at an election. People were using wireless in the election location, and the pin was actually printed right on for all the workers to see. It wasn't even on the back side of the wireless device. So people can easily, for convenience, make things very insecure. something I found out interesting, that if you're trying to brute force in, some of them have no lockout, so that makes them susceptible to brute force attack, even if it's a long time. It's not being locked out by having just some constantly trying to break in. And the way that the data is stored makes it somewhat vulnerable as well. This is what I talked about. We try to identify the MAC, but remember, we can spoof our MAC and put in their own device for one that's approved. But notice here, it's the most common type of access control. Knowing how it's not super insecure, but how it's not hard to bypass that, that's something that is worth at least monitoring. And there is actually monitoring software that lets you monitor change of MAC address devices. You can see that a different IP address has been associated with a different MAC, or new MAC addresses appearing on your network. You can watch for that and see. I suppose you could even see that, hey, the same MAC address appears on 2 different ports on my network. I know that one of them is rogue, and I could disable both until we decide that. I don't know if you know about Cisco equipment, but on a Cisco switch, you can set it to essentially be whitelist what's currently connected. So on a Cisco switch, I can say go to in security mode, and whatever MAC addresses that it has seen on any of its ports is the only MAC addresses that will be allowed on that specific port at that time. So you can regularly refresh and then lock back down if there are changes in devices. When you're setting up an office, connect everyone into the switch, hardwired, including your access points, and then set security on your switches. And that's media access control. That's the wired side of your wireless. You can do the same thing on the wireless side. I'm not the locking down part, but you can watch for the currently in use baseline, and even perhaps have a sort of an entry point page where they actually have to give some sort of legit either password or name of who they are and whitelist them through as new devices appear on the wireless side. On the unknown MAC addresses, you either send them to the guest network with limited bandwidth, or you block them and say, please call this number if you're needing access. There's your whitelisting little application someone could build. Add a MAC address to a list. Now, when they're registering PCs, they essentially have a user interface like this. I don't know yet what we're doing with the list of MAC addresses, but it will allow us to do some whitelisting. And if not whitelisting, we can trace activity and say, well, the address that you registered, we see that involved in a lot of current attacks or suspicious activity. WPA is the authentication that's fairly common, and it uses the pre-shared key, I believe. Yes, we use the pre-shared key. All right, let's look at your homework for this particular section. I think this might be easy. I'm hoping you'll find it interesting and educational. And let's bring up the homework that I'm asking for in this little wireless section. It's not super demanding, and you can even work as a team. Here is the assignment for this chapter. Down here, all I'm asking you to do is basically do a survey of the current wireless environment at Emmaus. You get to plan out what should be surveyed. I'm asking you to test detected SSIDs from at least 3 strategic locations. So it's up to you to decide what are the strategic locations that you should be measuring wireless. And you can, and of course, I am giving you the opportunity. If you would like to do it on your own, you can. If you'd like to work on it together, here is a link if you want to collaborate on one document that each is only shared with each of you. So you could collaborate if you like and decide what sections to do. Like I'm going to go to this spot and read all the data and report it in tabular format. Remember, I'm wanting you to tabulate the detected devices. Fill in a table. I'm asking a table, a clear, nicely organized table of detected SSIDs with strength, and I better make sure this I'm very clear on this. I'm also going to ask for strength and protocol, if you can get it. So where's the table? Table containing SSIDs and strength and protocol. And if they're hidden,
What tools do you recommend using for that?
what's that?
What tools do you recommend there?
That's part of this. Part of this is for you to find the tools. Now, I mentioned the wireless scanner is available on Android. It's a really nice app.
None of us have Android.
And you don't have Android. You could borrow someone's Android or find an app like that. Is there an equivalent app for iPhone? You can also use laptops. Laptops have the wireless, and there's software on laptops to measure wireless points and strength. Now I think if you simply connect to a wireless, it shows you what wireless your laptop is seeing. I don't know if the numbers for strength are terribly meaningful, but I believe it gives you some strength measurement of available wireless. So if you do that, what you could do, you could say, using the connect to wireless feature on my laptop, I brought up available wireless. Here's what I saw listed. Here's where I was when I did that. Here's the model laptop and operating system I'm using. And even your wireless wouldn't be bad to put in your model wireless device, just so we know, is Realtek always giving us a better answer? Just document that, and then say, if it shows a strength, say here where I was here at this time at this place, here's the strengths of wireless I saw. And then go to another strategic spot and see what other wireless I see. So basically I'm giving you permission to do some more driving around Emmaus.
I might do right outside my door and right inside my door.
There you go.
Because I have noticed at points where our hall Wi-Fi is out, I will get Wi-Fi outside my door.
So
I step through the door frame, I do not get Wi-Fi.
But the door's open or not? Find out if that makes a
doesn't matter.
difference. Okay. So
Stepping through that door frame can change whether I have Wi-Fi
Okay.
or not.
I
So
was
I may measure that.
I was at a Chick-fil-A. Occasionally I did some networking work on the side, and one of the jobs was Chick-fil-A's were just coming out with their little laptops, always using the iPads. They had me download an app to my laptop. I think it was a free app, and basically you would walk around and note. I was on a map, a circle map, and I would make a dot. I'd stop there and then press the button of measure strength. I'd walk to the next button, measure strength. It gave me a map around the building of where the wireless was the strongest. And then I saw that one wireless antenna was pointing that way, another one was pointing that way. There was a weak spot right here. So I simply adjusted, I think I adjusted just the one over here, just to point this direction a little bit so they get coverage all the way in the drive-through, because they were walking all around the drive-through with their iPads, probably dropping out when they're at a certain spot. That was my job that day, was just to walk around and get the wireless strength. The program that I was using, once you clicked, I think, enter, store the information had, and it would do the exact thing of, I think it was just the one wireless that was connected. It showed you the strength of that particular wireless. And then it gave you the graph or table all the way around the building. And then from that, it made sort of a strength map. And then I uploaded that as part of the completion of the work. You don't have to do anything that detailed, but find where the strategic spots would be. Inside or outside of your room. You could go layers too. Is it stronger on the 3rd floor, or is it stronger on the 1st floor? Do you lose a lot just going past particular walls? I believe the walls in the older building have the lath, so there's a grid, a metal grid that the plaster is attached to, and that metal grid may be what's blocking your signal. Because older buildings had lots of metal in the walls, and that's what it sure sounds like. But also, if you're in a hallway, even if there's not metal in the walls, once you're in the room, how many walls are between you and that wireless at the end of the hallway? All the other walls of the rooms between you and that. So it may be multiple walls with some metal, enough to really cut down your line of sight signal. It might be fun to try different things, like could you reflect the signal from the hallway into your room somehow? Do wireless signals do any reflection, or is that even possible? Like if you put something metal up in the hallway, would it make your signal in your room get any stronger? I know, it'd be an interesting experiment.
Metal sheet into the wall.
Why do we have this metal sheet wall? It's a needed wireless. But it'd be interesting to see, would it have any effect on your signal?
And then the other question is, would it have any effect on theirs?
Yeah, I believe everyone else would be cut off, but you'd be getting more.
Yeah, because I'm at the very end of the hallway.
Yeah.
And then they're at the very end of the
yeah.
hallway.
Any reflection you're going to do would also reflect it away from them.
Yep.
Could you get a repeater? I don't know if we have any repeaters. That simply reads the wireless here and just retransmits. We tried one once, and I don't think it worked very well, but they might not have set it up right.
They're not fantastic in general, because it repeats the signal, but it's going off of one link
That's
that
weak.
connects to a Wi-Fi router.
Yeah.
So it's coming in as one device, but it's handling multiple device connections.
Yeah. So I think you might find this fun, and if you want to work on it as a team, you could say, hey, Nathan, you're gonna go measure in this location, give the data, you measure somewhere else. And you might find that, hey, let's measure more locations, make it even more valuable data. I'm thinking Mr. Gabini might very much appreciate what you found. And there's a possibility you might find some security breach or even some vulnerabilities in our current wireless. So I think it's a fairly easy assignment, not super technical, but basically let's find out what we have here on the campus. And I don't know if we've mapped it before, and even if we have, it'd be interesting to see how is it different now than the last time you mapped.
Downloading a program called NetSpot that apparently does that, and it also finds hidden wireless networks.
When we were used to do IT and would interact with them, I always thought we should do this every semester. Is walk the hallways and find out where the strengths are, where the low spots are. Because at the end of the year, we regularly get a comment from students, I had no wireless all year. And think, well, did you tell anybody? I think we should be doing that and just checking to see, and always we would know there's a low spot at a particular corner. Even the idea of you go into a room and it drops so much, is there something we could do placing them in better places?
At that point, we had our whole Wi-Fi. It's not working.
Just having another wireless access point. at
So
the end
yes,
of the
once they
house.
got it fixed, I got Wi-Fi in the room again.
Another thing you would have to do if you're managing this, not only the coverage, but you got to keep track of all your devices and their level of software. Do they have their updates? Are they being configured? And monitor evidence of attacks on them. I don't know if we're still using the mesh, but we had mesh devices for a long time. They were so cool. You could go to their website, and it would actually map them out on the floors. I don't know. They must have GPS in them. And and you could see what devices were giving what strength. I'm not, and that was maybe 5 years ago. I'm not sure we're still using that brand because you're always chasing the strongest, highest bandwidth, especially when you have students that just suck up the bandwidth as much as they can, downloading all that fun stuff.
Apex and stuff back there,
So what did you say about the NFC on your phone? I installed it too. I got a tool.
I want to check this out too. So this is called NetStar. It allows you to see all the
Oh yeah,
current Wi-Fi networks.
nice. So if you can get, that graph and document your location, if this data, if you could actually download that data or just take a screenshot or take just the numbers off of them, that and put them in your table, you might be able to copy and paste. But we'd like the data in a table that it would be slick to actually put that in a database and just follow it. What's with all these EBC guests? That's different access points, right?
I'm guessing so.
And we see different.
I also know there's one point in the hallway by the Marble Chapel where my Wi-Fi will cut out and come back in. Probably a transfer point.
These are the interesting ones here.
And yeah,
Open mesh for a maze.
make a note of their channel too. That might be helpful. If there's a bunch of people sitting on the same channel, we could easily improve performance if we distributed the channels. I think a lot of these are doing automatic channel assignment.
These are all go 2.4.
I've heard that if you have one device going at a lower frequency, everyone else has to cut down to that. But that's in that particular device.
They probably improved the information sensitivity.
Okay, so we are using the open mesh stuff.
So this is the one that I'm currently on. EA.
What do we have? We have units of strength. We have signal to noise. We have a number we can assign.
Which one has the best strength, I believe?
So
Signal, I believe, is measured in decibels.
okay, so yeah, it looks like they are getting larger negative as you go down. Okay.
Alright, here's a site that kind of shows you what each thing means.
I would think the average is probably the thing that would be the meaningful number on those. I don't know how it's averaged over how long.
So signal strength indicated in decibels, this one here.
Yep.
Reference to 1 milliwatt or dBm for short. Proximity to the network. Tells you band is here, 2.5 or 5 gigahertz network.
And there's an unknown vendor here.
The E6. So those are router
There's
manufacturers.
E6, there's an EA, BA, BE.
Interesting.
Don't know what those mean.
That's probably just not the
Cisco?
name for those.
Don't we have a lot of Cisco equipment? It'd be interesting to find out, or at least document. The main thing I think would be the SSID and strength,
Open versus
and then type of security. And I would think average strength would be the number you want.
Of course, the other interesting. We still got a couple of WPA.
Huh?
WPA too. Instead of WPA2.
Open? What's that open one? Is that a guest?
Yep.
Do we have that all over? Oh, the EBC guest is open. I didn't realize EBC guest was open.
Yeah, so the EBC guest network, I know a couple of people who connect to it because they don't want to keep putting in the password.
Yeah.
But it is also a completely open network, so it's not very secure.
And if you want, you could say, you could say, where would a strategic location be to measure? The lab, well, there's not that many people here, but it might be
You also
interesting.
have everybody around you
Yeah.
because you've got all the business offices.
Yeah, you've got that location there. You wonder what they're doing. You've got Mr. Elliott supports Believer Stewardship. Might be interesting to see what they have in their corner. You're welcome if you thought, if someone were going to Ward Drive Emmaus, where would they come and park? And how far away do you have to be from Emmaus before you could get their signal? You could Ward Drive along just Asbury Road if you want. I'm asking for only 3 locations, but you can do more if you like. Because I think it might be kind of interesting to just map out where are they the strongest, and where's there the big, is there a black hole of wireless somewhere where everything is weak? Or there are multiple black holes. So you might learn a lot just walking around.
Racquetball courts are a black hole.
Yeah. Because all the metal in those walls probably. Yeah. I wonder about the tunnels. I'd expect them to be weak. But
I'd have to.
depends on how much is in the
I'd
floor.
have to get permission from the street meeting to get down there, but if not keys.
Yeah. You're welcome, but you don't have to spend a ton of time on it. Meet the specifications, and just see what basic thinking. This class is you're thinking. The crux of this class is not only the technology, but long term. How would you manage the support of all these different technologies? All right, have a good one. I'm going to play connecting. I successfully connected to a database, internet database. Now I have to figure out how to edit it. From Visual Basic, I connected to a database.